It probably is going to be overkill, I can think, but anyway, you can take a look at it. And you probably should also pull down the shades in the back because you're getting a mixture of the color. And then one over here. Bambi. My first film was Bambi. And then the second one was Perry the Squirrel, so I'm not in either. I should be making films for National Geographic, I guess, if that's the criteria. I recognize in these sort of other wounded children, some of my own wounds, but my own wounds weren't anywhere near as, I can't compare myself to Paddy Cunningham or to the kid he never gave me his name, but I've always remembered him because he taught me a great lesson. Aside from the fact that I could stop shaking while I was interviewing somebody that had a sawed-off shotgun while I was interviewing him. I did have to go through a whole process when I confronted my own mother. Actually, you should interview the person who worked with me as my co-producer and cameraman, John Maynard. He'll tell the story much better than I will, because he said it was literally like being with somebody in junior high school. I had the crew, and for the same reasons I was afraid she would bolt or just get. She had been known to put me out of the house before, so it wasn't. I had reason to be nervous. That's the interview that I did. Or I forgot to turn on the mic. Oh, right. So I had a very intimate 3-hour interview. And, was it different when the cameramen were there? Yeah, and actually it wasn't one camera, it was 2 cameras. That was a 2-camera shoot, so there were actually 6 people in the house. And I'm a Buddhist, and the way I finally got through it, I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. This is like a prayer or meditation for those who are not steeped in Buddhist philosophy. And I finally began to realize that I was complicit in the keeping of my own secret by my fear of what she would do if I asked her, in effect, made me as complicit in keeping the secret as she was in forcing me to keep the secret. It comes with experience. Nobody knows how to do this the first time. By the time I did Secret Daughter, I'd been working in the news business for 25 years. I wouldn't have dared try to do a film like that as my first film. Never, because I don't consider myself a filmmaker, I'm a journalist first. So I come to this craft through the lens of the reporter. And so for me, it's about the information, and interviewing is a way that you find out information. So good interviewers listen, good interviewers do their research before they go in, and not just about the person, but about the situation you're walking into. The editing process is the most challenging process for me. I love editing, but it's also crazy. It makes you crazy because you're creating a context, but you're also carving away so much context while you're choosing the bites. And I'm a person of African American descent, and I make films. I'm therefore a black filmmaker. I don't carry any. It doesn't carry any. I know there were folks like St. Clair Byrne who recently died. I know there is Saint and Eric Tate. I know there is sort of a group, and I'm a member of the Black Documentary Collective, but I know there's a group that sort of feels like black folks should only do black films about black people for black people, and I think we're now so diverse that maybe that doesn't mean as much as it did once upon a time. But I do most of the characters in my films happen to be African Americans. It's because I don't think most of my mainstream colleagues ever do films that are sensitively done and real and give African Americans the dignity that we have in films. We're either victims or objects of study. And, so that's why I do. That's what I do. But I don't think of myself as a black filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker. I hate to even say this because it sounds like such a freaking cliche. I'm a filmmaker who happens to be black. Actually, on January 20th, for the first time, I was an American. Thank you, Aretha.